Welcome everyone to Endgame Finance. Today we're talking about why Lucid Air will most likely be bankrupt by the end of this year. Now let's get into this real quick. We see here that in the first quarter, Lucid Air only delivered around 1,400 vehicles. That is not good, guys, because from looking at Ford, from looking at Rivian, we know that a company has to deliver at least close to 100,000 units to just break even. So basically, pretty much any EVs, any company that builds EVs, any company that builds electric vehicles has to deliver in volumes so they can break even. If they're not delivering in volumes, it means their factories are just generating enormous costs, and that costs are adding up, and those costs are causing these companies to go bankrupt if they're not producing enough units, if they're not selling enough units. 2022, Ford sold around 60,000 EVs, guys, and they lost $2 billion. They will sell even more this year, and they will lose even more money. Ford is projected to lose $3 billion on sales of their EVs this year. It just means they did not have the factory that's properly equipped to build EVs, and you really need that factory so you can push out volumes, you can push out numbers, so you can actually deliver on sales. We can see this also with Rivian. Now, Rivian delivered around 25,000 units, and they lost $6 billion last year. That basically means if you're not mass producing inside these electric vehicle factories, you're losing tons of money, guys. And that is the reason that Lucid will go bankrupt. They will simply not have enough production to cover their costs, and they will have to go bankrupt because let's look at these numbers. Last year, Lucid produced 7,000 vehicles, and they lost $3.2 billion, guys. Now, Lucid is projected to deliver 14,000 vehicles. That's about twice as much as they did last year, and they're projected to lose around $6 billion now. These guys only have $4.9 billion in liquidity. That basically means that they will burn through all their cash this year, and they will just not have enough money to maintain their operations. Their factories will shut down, their production lines will shut down, and Lucid will most likely be bankrupt by the end of this year. Now, the only hope Lucid does have is to raise more money from Saudi Arabian Wealth Fund. Saudis have pretty much been pushing in billions and billions of dollars into this company. They're hoping it to be the next EV car, the next big EV thing. They're hoping to compete with Tesla. They're hoping to compete with Rivian. However, they might not even actually be interested in this competition. They just might be buying this company to run it out of business. Because like we know, Saudi Arabia is pretty big in oil. They're making around $1 billion per day just pushing out oil onto the global markets. So they're not really interested in EVs. So this might just be a psyop where they just bought a company that will eventually bankrupt. As we see here, Saudi Arabia owns 65% of Lucid. And even in the last round, they were when they raised $1.5 billion, they actually put in over $1 billion or close to $1 billion, and everyone else put in a little bit more. So they were the majority leading investor in the last round as well as in previous rounds. And they will most likely have to take this company private because this is just a big money drain. Their stock is continuing to collapse, and it will just stay on that route until they are bankrupt. Another reason Lucid Air is just not really on the par with the total complete EV industry is because everyone is going towards SUVs. Everyone is moving in that direction. Rivian pretty much only makes SUVs. They don't make sedans. Sedans are not really popular anymore, especially if they're around $150,000 to $250,000. Nobody's gonna pay that much money, guys. Lucid is an amazing company. I mean, their designs are pretty amazing. However, they've failed to deliver on the unit production. And by the end of the year, they will run out of cash and they will be bankrupt just because there's no demand anymore for sedans. People want SUVs. People want cheap vehicles. People don't want to pay $250,000. If you're going to pay that kind of money, you're most likely going to go with a Rolls Royce or something pretty out there like a Lamborghini or a Maybach or Ferrari. So these guys enter the market where just the sales are drying up. Sales are just not there anymore for sedans, and they're especially not there for sedans that are way too expensive for even a fairly wealthy person to afford anymore. So that's it, guys. We just went over real quick why Lucid Air will fail. Most likely by the end of this year, they will run out of money and they will close their operations. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, let's discuss them below. And guys, as always, have a great day.